What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Another Friday, another episode of Why Are We Bullish? Killer panel today. We've got a couple returning guests, a couple brand new faces, and we're going to be chatting about why we're bullish. Now, there's always people that are like, well, it's dipping. Why are you bullish? This show is so seldom about the price. It is about Bitcoin and it's what it brings to people around the globe. And it is volatile as hell, as I'm sure you're aware, watching the charts right now. You guys doing okay? You should be okay. Come on. We're here. We're happy. We're going to bring everybody in a moment. As always, this is live. Anything can happen. So I defer to my friend Bill here.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
All right. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, share, all those things. Super, super important. They really do help the show. And as always, I am Ben with BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
All right, before we bring in our guests, let's take a look at where we are in the market right now. We are sitting at 36,200 and it's moving too quick. It's bouncing and doing its own thing. 3,600, 200 and some odd dollars per coin. A single US dollar will grab you 2,760 sats. 90.17% of all Bitcoin have been mined. And in terms of fees, 6 sats per byte for the next block, 1 sat per byte if you're willing to wait around 1 hour. Should be totally fine. Let's do quick shout outs to sponsor the show, Shakepay.com. If you're buying Bitcoin in Canada, one of the easiest and best ways to do it. No deposit fees, no withdrawal fees. Thin spread. When you use the link down below after your first $100 purchase, they'll give you $30 for free. You can stack some extra sats, especially with this dip here. When you do the same thing and you refer your friends, you get the same deal, another $30, and you also gain the ability to shake your phone every single day for free sats. I'm on 100 and something day streak. I'm getting 800 and something sats per day right now. So yeah, get on it. They also have a Sats Back Visa card. Be sure to check that out. Links are down below. We've got a couple friends from LEDN here today, and I'm sure we'll be chatting about LEDN itself a little bit here. But of course, you can use your Bitcoin for a ton of different services here. In particular, for me, it is very, very useful if I ever need to get my hands on dollars, but I don't want to sell my Bitcoin, especially at a time like this. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin. So I can deposit Bitcoin here, get a loan of dollars to my bank account within 24 hours. And when I pay back those dollars, I get back the same amount of Bitcoin. They also have savings accounts for Bitcoin and USDC to earn a little bit of interest back on your coins. And they also have their B2X offering if you are feeling mega bullish in dips like this. Just as always, exercise caution, use a small percentage of your stack. And up next, I do live on Bitcoin, ton of different gift cards available here at Bitrefill. They really do help me out, and available in a ton of different countries. You can pay with Bitcoin, both on-chain and Lightning. You earn sats back as you shop, and they do have a referral program to earn some extra sats on top of that. So check them out. Keystone, you guys know, one of my favorite and most used hardware wallets, 100% air gapped. You never plug it into anything internet connected. It's all done offline via QR code. And this keeps the keys to your money safe and offline. It works with all my favorite wallets: Blue Wallet, Wasabi, Sparrow, Spectre, you name it, they got it. Awesome in a multi-sig setup and great with mobile phones too. So check them out in the links below. And finally, if you're backing up any important Bitcoin wallet, get it in steel, guys. Paper, too many worries there. Water damage, fire damage. I've heard horror stories of people just throwing the damn thing out because it's a slip of paper flitting around. So get some peace of mind. Get it in steel. BillFodl. Check it out. This is how I back up all my stuff. With that, I'm going to stop rambling. Let's get our friends in here. Coach Carbon. We got Bang Bitcoin. And we've got Mario. We've got Mauricio. gentlemen, welcome to the show. Figure we'll do a quick round of intros here, just to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into it. So, Josias, I will toss it to you. Can you let people know who you are, what you do?
Ben, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be on. Coach, it's in the name, Coach Carbon. I had my career in construction, recently left there in 2020. That's when I discovered, or Bitcoin found me, and I went down the rabbit hole and have been down many warrens since. They say patience is a virtue, but I think it's persistence, which has got me on the seat tonight. So again, thank you for having me on. I'm just working now to just help people in all walks of life with their health, wealth, and life, with regards to improving and using Bitcoin as a mechanism that can help. Just the education side, not necessarily investing, but when you learn about the principles, that's what I promote. And I dare anyone to learn about Bitcoin, do their 10,000 hours and not improve their lifestyle.
Awesome, man. Well, I am very excited to have you. Thank you for making the time. I know it's late on the other side of the pond, but you're making the time, so thank you very much. Let's jump down the line. Bang Bitcoin on Twitter. Good to have you, man. Can you let people know who you are, what you do, as much information as you care to share?
Ben, what's up? Hey, I'm nobody. What do you mean? I'm just a lowly pleb hodler. That's it. I'm one of the many in the army, but I'm just a lowly pleb.
Well, dude, plebs are the ones that run this joint, right? So
don't you just love the plebs?
I love them. It's always great, and I'm making a concerted effort to get new plebs, people that are passionate about Bitcoin, and I'm very glad to have you here, and curious to hear what you want to chat about.
Awesome, love the panel, love your show, sweet.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. And let's keep going down the line. Mauricio, many time returning guest. How you doing, man? Let people know who you are, what you do, if they don't already.
Hey, Ben. Great to see you again, man. Great to see everyone. I'm co-founder, chief strategy officer at LEDN.io, which some of your everyday watchers will probably have heard of us. But yeah, we had the pleasure of knowing you and a bunch of the other members of the Bitcoin community in Canada for many years. So pleasure to be back and be bullish.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you. And Mario, I feel like I get to chat to you on a regular basis outside of the show, every week or two. So welcome back. Again, let people know who you are, what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I've been always love calling Myron Bullish. Yeah, my name is Mario Gibney. I am director of community at LEDN, and I also do the Unhashed podcast, co-host that with a few friends, and just been obsessed with Bitcoin for a half decade or so, and have just trying to help make this thing a reality.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad to have you all, and those that are watching that may not be familiar. This is Why Are We Bullish? And the whole concept is we all come with a reason why we're feeling bullish at the moment. It's very seldom about the price, but sometimes. And we get to talk about whatever we're excited about, and we go by the 3 R's. Somebody brings their reason, and they get to rant on it a little bit. We then get to riff on that reason all together as a group. And then number 3, we rotate to the next person until we've each had our turn to say our bit. So I am going to get us started here really simply. My reason for being bullish this week is that I think in the context of quote unquote crypto as a whole, this flush is needed. There's still like a lot of irrationality when I look and I see things like the insanity around the NFT market still. I saw an article the other day that Lindsay Lohan is launching her own NFTs and is advising whatever the hell, advising some new NFT project. We have Twitter adding NFT avatars for people. We see
you have one, don't you?
I did. I minted it for free on a photo editing site, and I now have my hexagonal, wonderful NFT Twitter profile picture, of which I myself own, and nobody else can ever own. Just so you know.
I think Daniel Prince owns part of that now, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, right. I think he minted his own copy the other day. A little bit of screenshot, a little bit of right click. But yeah, I think this is it feels a little similar to me. Maybe not in speed, but it does feel on a macro level and on a just kind of price action level a little bit like, you know, going back to spring of 2020. There's a lot of downward pressure. There was a lot of uncertainty, and the people that had been here for a while, even them, they got shaken up in that. And this is, so those that are unfamiliar, we went in the span of a month from about 10K to 4. We wicked down really hard in one particular week, and it was, you know, people were scared. It was freaky. It's as much as you gut check yourself, you know, 40% in a month, or 60% in a month. That is jarring. But I do recall quite a, you know, there was capitulation, but there was also a lot of people that, you know, as long as they're being cautious and they're being responsible, you can weather those storms, and you can just sit it out and patiently stack away. If you're not banking on the day-to-day price movements, if you're not trying to make a quick buck, then you can easily weather these storms. And so I think that flushes like these, often everything else gets hit a lot harder than Bitcoin. It gives a much needed dose of reality to the room when people are getting a little too crazy about things. And those with a much longer time horizon and some low time preference tend to fare relatively well through moments like this. So that's kind of my reason for being bullish. I will open it up to the panel, and I don't know, does anybody echo the sentiment that things were still a tad irrational and may still be?
I very much echo, you know, a lot of what you said, Ben. I think, you know, it's easy to look at Bitcoin's drop and think this is a Bitcoin-centric event, but just to like frame things into perspective for a second, the S&P 500 dropped 7% this week, I believe. But even if we think that's 6%, if you look at the market cap, and I'm just double checking this because I was just making a note about this earlier because I found it fascinating. I just have to double check here. It is, so the S&P, the companies in the S&P make up about $40 trillion in market cap, $41 trillion, according to Investopedia. So the S&P dropping 6% in 1 week actually destroys 3 entire Bitcoin market caps of value. And that happened this week. And so it's fascinating, right? Because when these things happen, and in finance, you refer to these things as to sort of to a correlation one event, which is like the entire world just goes risk off and just sells everything, and everything gets correlated. And so this is not, I don't think, necessarily a Bitcoin-centric event. And to your point, there was a lot of stuff that was flying really, really high. And basically, there was just a lot of room for wild speculation, which seems to be the direction we're heading to in a long term over time, but it has to ebb and flow. And I think it ebbed too far, and now it's coming back down. But yeah, I'll pause.
Anybody else want to throw their hat in the ring on this one?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. I mean, I want to echo what Mauricio said. It's like, well, first of all, just to speak to some of the insanity that needs to be flushed out, there is a tweet from the World Economic Forum, and I quote, "How NFTs are helping solve climate and gender issues. Discover more innovations helping restore gender equality and the Great Green Wall." That's a quote from the World Economic Forum. So it just gives you a sense of like how, you know, how preposterous, I guess, some of the range of these initiatives are. And, you know, and I'm with Maurizio there. You know, the S&P plunging. I was saying that before the show, Ben. It's like there's definitely a macro thing happening with the Fed and all their signaling and the herd that is, you know, the equities market kind of running for cover. But, you know, the cool part about it is that, you know, Bitcoin's been here before, and like on both sides of the aisle, the inflation deflation debate, like Bitcoin's got a toe in the water. So, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, either you get Bitcoin and you're hodling and you've got a 4, 5, 6 plus time your horizon, or you don't, and you get flushed out. And how many people have gotten flushed out over the last 4 or 5 years? You know, they're on the sidelines now and they're going, fuck Bitcoin, fuck. So, you know, I say flush them out.
Yeah. Fair. Josias, any thoughts here?
Yeah, so spring 2020 was just before my time, but obviously I've heard the horror stories and I've listened to the OGs, and I'm remaining zen at this moment. You know, obviously expecting a dip at some point. We had the dip back in September, which I weathered. So this one is a test. But looking at, I'm trying to look at macro events and think what's going on. And as you say, there's no rationale. We're hearing all the announcements. We have Bukele just tweeted he's bought 410 more Bitcoin with a dip. He met President Erdogan from Turkey. You have Argentina adopting it through Strike. You think all that's going on. In my mind, I think that would affect the price upwards. But yeah, there must be so much more going on that I have no idea about. So I just need to just sit back, relax, and have that long-term horizon.
Yeah, it's funny because everybody, regardless of what direction the price is going, there's always things to point to and say why it's going a certain direction. And I think Bitcoin just kind of, other than major events, Bitcoin kind of does its thing. And then after the fact, people will point to whatever they believe is the cause of that, right? Like, you know, a friend texted me, was it the Russia ban? Is it Russia? Is that why it's going down? Like that. So like, yeah. I think a lot of these events are not necessarily the reason for the movement. I think, you know, excessive leverage in the system, irrationality, people that have bit off more than they can chew and aren't being cautious with those types of things, that can be a trigger here. And that it's just very convenient to go in after the fact and be like, this news item is why.
Well, the Russia ban, I think within 24 hours, there was a Russian economist to say that they're considering using Bitcoin to get around US sanctions. So which one is it?
Yeah, exactly. If the price is going up, it was the other one, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Mario, any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, the Russia ban just makes me think it's bad for the people of Russia more than it's bad for Bitcoin, to be honest. And yeah, there definitely is an over tendency to focus on like, oh, what's the immediate thing that happened yesterday? And sure, maybe it might have catalyzed a bit of a sell-off, but yeah, I mean, like, and let's just keep in mind, like, we're now at lows we haven't seen since July, like less than half a year ago, and like 1 year ago, this was an all-time high, the current price. So, you know, patience, people. It's
yeah. Context is important, and a lot of people use the context of a 1 month window or a 1 week window, and neglect to zoom out and look at the Bitcoin history over the last, you know, since inception, and seeing, yes, it's a bumpy ride. It's not. It's nothing goes straight up forever. There's going to be volatility on the way. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been sitting through this shit for 8 years. It's not going to change. It's never going to be like, oh, it's new all-time high every single day forever. No, there's going to be, and the best thing is that this kind of destroys any predictive model that most people would have had, which is kind of what Bitcoin does. Like, this is the most Bitcoin thing that could have happened. Everybody's like, end of 2021, new all-time highs.
Is there a particular model you're calling out here?
Yeah. But the thing is, okay, so stock to flow the bands in which that can continue to technically function, it still is not ruined. Which is hilarious because it could there's 2 standard deviations that it can go away from, and it's such a wide range that it would have to be so entirely off base to fail that more or less it's it probably will hold up for another few years.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. So it's it is what it is, but it's a pretty wide ranging model, and thinking that it's going to be scraping the top of it at a particular time or the bottom of it at a particular time, it's a model in such where it was done in a way where it's kind of difficult to be wrong almost, barring a cataclysmic failure of Bitcoin or the entire world adopting Bitcoin over the course of a couple of months. So
Rainbow Chart is still holding up pretty strong.
It is, I bet.
Rainbow Chart's just crushing it.
It's a well thought through model.
Well, that's not how I'd phrase it, but it's I like it. It's got shiny colors.
It is very colorful.
He is often right.
Yeah, that's true. It needs more dots, I think. Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to round this out. In essence, I'm just saying, again, if you're being cautious, if you've got a long enough time frame, and you're here for the long run, even if this is your first kind of crazy drop that you've seen, just know that every single person that is in Bitcoin long enough sees this come and go over and over and over again. So, strap in, jump on the roller coaster and enjoy. Cool. Definitely. So we are going to roll on, and we're going to jump to our next reason for being bullish. I have to give a shout out to everybody's favorite commenter. David Wong is here again to tell us all how wrong we are about Bitcoin, and tell us that this is, I believe, just a moment ago, he did say that this is probably the last one. This is the end of Bitcoin, he has said.
This is the obituary that sticks.
Yes.
Is this the weekly troll, the guy who's here on a weekly basis?
Yes, he's my favorite viewer.
David, what's up?
David, welcome. So he did indeed say that. There we go. I think this time it's real. It's not going back up to the highs again.
This time, guys. This time.
This is the time. So, David,
very
thoughtful. Thank you for your commentary. I'm so glad to have you here again. I will never ban you. You can come but he's here every episode, so I'm very happy to have him as a viewer. Thank you.
You know what you should do, Ben?
Huh.
Ben, you gotta have a "Why Are We Bearish" segment once we print new all-time highs, and then have David Wong on. You can invite,
that'd be great.
I don't know, like Rubini.
Yeah,
get Taliban. It'd be great.
Yeah,
David, this is an open invitation. If Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, then you have an open invitation to come on the show if you still believe that it's a fake out and it's still going to zero. Okay, so open invitation. If that happens, if those moments coalesce, you've got a spot. All right.
It's good for the echo chamber, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna move on to our next reason for being bullish. Josias, you are up. Basically, take it away. Let us know what you're excited about. What's on your mind?
I was going to touch on the macro events, which I mentioned earlier, but because you mentioned NFTs at the start, I'm going to go down a different rabbit hole, which has got me really bullish over the last 3 or 4 months. There won't be now. So 2 or 3 months. And it's art, delivering the message of Bitcoin and what it means through art. So I met the Scarcity guys in Manchester in November, and having a conversation with Aaron there. Obviously, I was talking about coaching through health, wealth, and life, different platforms to discuss Bitcoin principles, but using art, I've just been having so much fun with it and following different people. Crypto Graffiti, recently the stuff he's been auctioning on Scarcity, Fractal and Crypt. Obviously, he did the artwork for Salem and has been doing the keys. I think, have you got a key in your background? Have you got one?
That's what I'm going to riff on. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I won't say too much, but yes, just exploring what people are doing. You have the crypto couple who are doing their skits on Twitter, but there's just so many elements I think you could touch upon that we can spread the message and drop seeds bombs to people, orange pill people, without having going in with just the number go up. It's just like, yeah, how you perceive Bitcoin. And I mentioned before the core, I was looking at a certain block because I was doing something with that for something I want to produce. It's just like my family look at me thinking, what are you doing? So he's got frames out, cards, everything out, printers going, but I'm having so much fun with it. And whether it's a piece to go on my wall, I made some presents for family members at Christmas, a piece of 21. So there was only 21 that I made and handed them out to people as presents. So it's just delivering a message. And they ask, why 21? What does that mean? What's that refer to? So yeah, I'm having fun with art at the minute.
That's awesome. There are some incredible artists in and around the space. And again, the ones that you mentioned are killer. The Scarcity guys are awesome. I love Crypto Graffiti. I've met him a few times now. I did see him in Miami for the conference last time around, and man, he just knocks it out of the park every time. There's just so many unique things, and I mean, even when it comes down to like the Citadel 21 magazines, like the artists, the art that's on the covers of those, and the way that those magazines are put together, it's such a unique, awesome style to it. There's some awesome people out there contributing to the space. So, I mean, if anybody else wants to jump in with anything that they'd like to touch on from Josias' topic, I will stop rambling.
Well, so it just turns out that I got this like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and I actually got it from Scarcity, and it's the Fractal and Crypt key. And shout out to Mike in Space, who actually tweeted about this when he bought it, and that's how I ended up getting caught up to it, and I went and I bought one. But Josiah, I echo you entirely. So I showed this to my parents who happened to be in town, and this thing, I don't know if you can see it, but it says infinity over 21 million. And my dad, who is like he actually was a Bitcoiner before I was. He got me into Bitcoin, believe it or not. Like that's a really funny story. But he saw that and he was like, "Oh wow!" It's like, "This is really cool." Like infinity over 21 million. It's like just so smart. Like it's just so powerful, that message. And it's like, people, to your point, it's almost like it lures you to deeper questions better than me trying to tell you why it's exciting. If somebody took the time to spend hours and invest, that's an energy investment right there. Somebody spent hours because they are passionate about whatever that means. And when people see that representation of energy, they're like naturally attracted to whoever was so passionate to pour that much soul into that. And they're like, wow, why? And they want to get into it. And I think it's fascinating as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like Bitcoin has a certain, it inspires. Like that's what I've been here now almost, I guess, for 5 years, and I just noticed that there's a sort of an inspiration that comes when you start to learn about what's really going on in the financial system, and then start to feel empowered by the fact that you hold your own keys. Your money is your money. There's like an inspiration and empowerment and agency that comes from that. And from that, it's no surprise that it's like a wellspring of creativity. Because when you start to feel inspired, empowered, it's like immediately you get creative. You want to build something, make something, share something. So, it's awesome to see. And, we see it right down the line, on Bitcoin Twitter to like, how many meme lords do we have on Bitcoin Twitter? Like, these guys, and they're incredible, right?
That is art.
Like that's its own kind of art, and it's savage and hilarious and creative, and it's everywhere. it's everywhere in the Bitcoin community, and I just love it.
Mario, do you want to tag anything in there?
Yeah, I like I don't know, it's fun also, like, just as part of a broader point, being able to see, like, people's people's finances, freeing them up to do things that they love to do. That's it's what this is all about. I'm not really an expert on the art world, but I absolutely love the fact that people are able to pursue their passions far more than they otherwise would have been able to. It kind of reminds me of I forget who said this, but someone was talking to a dev at a Bitcoin conference a while back, some pseudonymous, and who had made a bunch of commits to Bitcoin back in the day, and they kind of asked him, how are you able to continue doing all this work for free? And he said, well, Bitcoin took care of me, so now I'm taking care of Bitcoin. And I see this as promoting it on the social level is also a really important thing. And it's nice to see that in a lot of different forms.
I think Bitcoiners also gravitate towards Bitcoin-related art because our money is intangible. We want some tangible toys to have around as a way to, I guess, experience Bitcoin in a physical way,
right? Represent it or something,
yeah, which is super interesting because I wasn't really, I guess I wasn't much of an art person before, but then because I found a topic that I'm passionate about, I like getting items and artistic representations of that for my home. So Bitcoin's
so multifaceted, and as we all know, it's like this massive rabbit hole that you never see the bottom of. And so what a perfect sort of palette to create artistic stuff around it. Like, it's just unlimited.
Yeah. And we'll I'm sure we'll see much more creativity in the years to come. Actually, now something that comes to mind, one of my favorite art pieces, just given the context of what's going on right now, was the art piece of the bear whale. You guys remember
the best
that
one? It's the best. That's my favorite one.
What is it?
I haven't seen that.
We gotta get a screenshot of that going on.
Yeah, let me.
Bear whale.
There's two different versions of it, and one of them is just amazing.
Okay,
it sounds like a meme.
I got it.
So
did you guys watch well, we already moved on from NFTs, but did anyone catch the South Park NFT special?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. It was
so
gold. It was gold.
Oh, I gotta see it.
It was amazing. Mario, did you find it?
Yep, sharing screen here.
Okay, I'll bring it up here. All right. So
okay, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's context to this. I can't remember. Do you guys remember how big the cell wall was on this?
I can't recall. It was
off the top of my head, no, but I know there's a legend
very
of the
well
bear whale
documented.
story.
Yeah.
So, this is
very well documented.
This has been well. Oh, I forgot I was.
Oh, I did find it. 30,000 Bitcoin sold at $300 per coin.
What an idiot.
Yeah. So
so
somebody basically, they made a sell order for 30,000 Bitcoin, all at $300 per coin. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is going to, like, a lot of people were saying this is going to crash Bitcoin even further. And people, buyers, hodlers of last resort, just ate away at it and gradually destroyed and bought the entire sell wall all the way through. And so people referred to it as the slaying of the bear whale, because it was a whale that had just had so much Bitcoin and just dumped it all at $300 a coin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mythical.
But
So
what a great representation that piece of art.
There's other pieces of art here that actually took the chart and turned it into the image. So if you give me 1 second here.
That's great. That is a nice piece. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice.
The original with the Spartan shields is still my favorite though.
Yeah. Nice.
We got to get this one for the office, Mauricio. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We actually are commissioning like a list. We got to connect with the team internally to make sure. And actually, we want to do some cool stuff with like the naming of the rooms and stuff with the art. And we got a lot of cool stuff lined up for the office. I
might share one thing, and let's see here. Share screen. Let's do this. I'm gonna mute it, but somebody made a somebody made a screen of the slaying of the bear whale. They captured it live as it was happening, as you basically see like all of these Bitcoin orders get filled, and it's just like a straight wall of selling. So that straight line there up and down is just people eating away all of that Bitcoin, just buying all at like $300 a coin, 30,000 Bitcoin. And it's just, I'll skip ahead a little bit, but it's like, it literally just sits there forever and ever. And people bought all of it until the very end. And then it finally breaks through and disappears. And there it goes. Yeah. Yeah. You can see again, all the like, yeah, it was pretty spectacular. But yeah, you know, this kind of stuff, it spurs on creative people to make pieces of art like the slaying of the bear whale. So there it is. I love that topic.
Is it Stacey Herbert who uses the coins a term now, the Renaissance 2.0? Exactly that.
Yeah, I've heard a number of people utilize. I'm not sure who said it first, but yeah, absolutely. So I love that topic. I thought that was great. Thank you, Josias, for bringing that topic to the table. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna rotate around. David's just a quick update. David says Bitcoin doesn't have real value. It just depends on people bidding the price. That's it. Thank you, David.
What is real value? I wonder what David thinks.
Gold. He said gold is a real asset. So just so you know. Also, he's never, from last episode, just so you know, he's never had an issue with his bank. So
oh man, I want to meet David.
So we're gonna rotate. Bang Bitcoin, you are up. What has you excited this week, man? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm always excited about Bitcoin, like just perpetually excited ever since I've discovered it. But this week, I'm just thinking like in terms of like reframing this idea of interoperability and incentive structure, and I'm just starting to think about it just slightly differently, and this is how I'm thinking about it. It's like when I buy Bitcoin, so I hold immediately when I change I change fiat into Bitcoin. The quality of people that start working for me is just incredible. Like that's how I'm thinking about it now. It's like I buy, I hold, and the people that suddenly start working for me are just unbelievable. I mean, Michael Saylor's holding up my marketing department. Jack Dorsey is, getting in there, basically worldwide chief strategist. Guys like Greg Maxwell, Peter Woolley, Adam Back, Jack Mallers, they're doing my IT department. BTC Sessions, TFTC, Vallis, Breedlove, Lavera, Gigi, Swan, Pomp, McCormick. You can tell I'm reading. Gibney. These guys are in charge of my education department. My chief financial officers are guys like Bill Miller, Paul Tudor Jones, Ray Dalio, Arthur Hayes, and Mauricio Di Bartolomeo. Pronounce that shit right. And then like my macro people, Lynn Alden, Preston Pish, Jeff Booth, my boy Greg Foss. And then, the chart crushers like Wu and Clement and Vase and Leclerc. And then, I get my my lowly pleb army. And these are my guys, the meme lords, the Bitcoin Twitter guys, the guys that put in the time to like learn about what this is and know that hodling through stuff like we're seeing in the last 24 hours is just part of it. I just when I buy Bitcoin, I just think, man, look at the people that are now working for me. It's just unbelievable. This is what happens with an open network like this, an interoperable open network. It's like everyone who joins the party adds value, and who's going to be next, right? Like I just feel like we all have this sort of recency bias in a way. It's like go back 18 months. Like look at what's happened in 18 months in Bitcoin. It's just incredible what's going on. And I'm just wondering, like, what's going to happen the next 12, the next 18 months, the next 2 years? Like, who's going to come aboard? who's going to flank Jack Dorsey and Michael Saylor and El Salvador? You know, it's just like, it's just an incredible thing. So yeah, that's my take. It's like, I buy Bitcoin and look at the ferocious talent, intelligence, you know, passion, like the smartest, bright. The reason why I got into, I'm rolling downhill here, but the reason why I got into Bitcoin, no kidding, like I'm learning and I'm getting better at the tech, you know, but I'm not super tech savvy. And I'm learning and I'm getting better at the monetary history and, you know, learning the financial stuff. But what I spotted early on, I give myself a pat on the back here because I've always been pretty good at this. I can spot quality people. Like that's the thing that I kind of always knew I kind of had. I could discern quality, intelligent people right away. And as soon as I started down the rabbit hole, I was listening to a bunch of different people talk. I'm like, all these fucking Bitcoiners, they're all sharp. They're all so sharp, you know, and they're authentically sharp people. So yeah, I'm bullish on Bitcoiners, like just
Definitely.
bullish on Bitcoiners.
Definitely.
That was a
I
great
love
rant.
your analogy there. They work for you.
Isn't it amazing? I buy Bitcoin and Jack Dorsey is working for me. Dare I call him my bitch?
Yeah, that, I mean,
Suddenly,
you're
I'm less
absolutely
excited to be in your list of names.
Mario.
I'm gonna give a shout out because I see him in the chat here of another great contributor to the education space, and they get far less credit than they should. But Canadian Bitcoiners podcast, those guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Len and Joey, they knock it out of the park on the regular.
They're another example of like 8 months ago. Those guys just started like 8 months ago, and they're killing it.
You see the guests they're getting on. They had
Safe.
They've just had a ton, and the quality of their questioning, the quality of, like, I had them on for an episode of Why Are We Bullish, like prior to the Christmas thing that I did, and holy hell, like Len came with the receipts. He had figures and statistics and just everything backing up everything he was saying. It was amazing. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But more than that, go and subscribe to everything that they're doing. They're on Twitter. They've got a podcast, but they're doing YouTube now too. I think they're taking smaller clips of their show and dropping it in there. So find them on there too. But anyways, I just on your, in the context of awesome people, you know, doing great things, they're definitely on that list. But maybe I'll open it up to everybody else on the panel. Who do you think, in the context of people working for you, who are you glad to have working for you if you have Bitcoin?
I was going to respond to Bang Bitcoin. I think every single name that you named there, I was visualizing them, thinking about little sound bites, and it got me excited. And it's funny because they're like household names to me now. And I'll speak to my wife and I'll name certain people, and she'll be like, that name means nothing to me. So when people come with FUD and it just bounces off, that's the reason why. Because as you said about you could spot wise people, I'm listening to these people. It's making sense. I'm thinking, who am I to go against them? And the knowledge they've amassed, I've been a year and a bit, and I believe in it. They believe in it. They've got more money than I could dream of invested in it. And what they're saying makes sense. I know it might be an echo chamber, but it does literally make sense. Who am I to think, yeah, you could be wrong? So, yeah, bullish on the names, bullish on the content they're giving, and then bullish to the fact they work for us. So thanks for that, Bang Bitcoin. I'll be taking that.
Awesome. Mauricio, Mario, anybody stand out to you who you really appreciate that's working in the Bitcoin space?
Well, I like the fact that I could say Maurizio's working for me now. I like that. For anyone who doesn't know, he is my boss. But now I'm also a little bit his boss in this.
Now you know, Mario.
Yeah, it's.
I want to give a shout out to a lot of people that perhaps kind of are missed by some of the limelight that we have in North America, which is all the content makers that make Bitcoin education content in Spanish, in Portuguese, in French, in Italian, in Cantonese, in Mandarin, because people underestimate how difficult it is for somebody that is actually in these less developed worlds. I know, we all have great we all want Bitcoin to reach the people that need it the most. Many times we, because of just circumstances, may not even understand what that best way to get them that content is. And so there are people that are out on the fringes that don't get to come to the conferences. They don't get the keynotes. They don't really get the big Twitter followers either, because they're out there doing their thing in their own language and in their own community. But I think it's as global as a community as we are, there's still a lot of limelight or focus on the North America, and for many reasons, right? Like, it's a quarter of the world's economy. Like, it's where a lot of the innovation comes from. It's where many of the custodians and the first companies existed. But I think that we should celebrate people like, for example, like Anita Posh, who like focuses on Bitcoin sovereignty work in Africa, and Bitcoin Lady, who like lives in Zimbabwe, and the guys at Bitcoin Beach that went to El Salvador. So like all these guys that take a huge chance in going into a very remote place, knowing that there won't be very many cameras shining on them. And I think those guys need to be, we need to applaud them, and those girls.
Yeah, 100%. I like, and this also kind of ties back into, since David Wong is the star of this show, he's saying he hasn't had trouble with the banking system. And like, to be honest, like the banking system, I've definitely had some problems with it, but it served me pretty well. But, that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to the rest of the world. Like a lot of the people who, aren't where a lot of the kind of media action is happening here in North America, they're the people that we're really in this for. Like, I benefit from Bitcoin for sure, but I am by no means the type of person who most needs it. And so, yeah, just absolutely 100% echoing Maurizio's sentiment there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the A team gets stronger over time, and there's a bit of a brain drain involved there too, where people are giving up their jobs at some of the biggest asset firms in the world. Some of these people are just saying, no, I'm going to go work in this space now. I'd rather spend my time here, and that's a very exciting thing to see, and I think we'll continue to see more of it. But bang Bitcoin, thank you for that. That was an awesome topic.
Ben, I just had a reminder actually.
Yeah,
the first show of yours I watched was the Mega Bulls one. Obviously, it was all over Twitter, and so I stayed up all night, and my mind was blown. That was an incredible show.
That was an epic one. I don't know how that one got pulled out in some way, shape, or form, but it happened, and I think it was largely Bitcoin Twitter that was responsible for getting that group of people in a single place at once. So, yeah, shout out to the plebs on Twitter for that. Awesome. Well, let's keep rolling. Let's jump over to Mauricio. I'm gonna let you rant and rave about whatever has caught your eye in the last little bit. What are you thinking this week?
I'm bullish for a couple of reasons, and more trying to zoom out of the current sort of price action and look into and trying to sidestep a lot of the kind of the thinking on the Fed and all this stuff, because I think if you focus on there's a few things that you can look at that would make you very bullish. And for example, a few of them are, we're going into this bear market with a lot of Bitcoin companies with great balance sheet positions. And that wasn't necessarily the case last time around. Right now, you had literally billions of dollars of VC funds that poured into companies like Blockstream, LEDN, many amazing companies that are building incredible Bitcoin tech, and we're not going to stop. Like no one's stopping, and in fact, we're actually moving way faster now. And we're building some really cool products. Not just us, many other people are. And I think that when we have the hype of the noise of the bull markets, it's easy to sort of get yanked in many directions, and you're overflowing with clients, and it's not like we're not growing. Everything's growing tremendously, but when the market turns a little bit like this, it gives you time to really focus and build for the long term. And I think that going into this with so many companies in such great standing, I think it's going to produce a lot of great products. It's going to produce a lot of great education content. It's going to continue supporting content makers across Bitcoin to produce even more high quality stuff. And so I don't think that the experience for the Bitcoiner is only going to get better. And well, price will inevitably come back, as we know it does. But it's just the experience as a Bitcoiner is just going to continue to get way, way, way better.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, somebody in the chat, did he just say we're going into a bear market? No, Daniel, what he meant to say is that Bitcoin has been in a 13-year bull market that will continue forever if you zoom out enough. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And like in the context of downturns, that's when the most shit gets built, right? Like you go to Bitcoin 2019 when everybody was like, you know, we just had Bitcoin go from 20 in 2017 all the way down at times to 3, and then start to just barely come back. And you know, that's the time where people are actually building cool shit. And the people that were building nothing, that it was vaporware, those start to filter out, those start to disappear, because if you can actually build a product that's benefiting people, then the money dries up. But the people that actually provide value get to stick around, and you get to see what they're doing through these times.
Yeah, and you know, the tide eventually goes out, you know, it goes in, it goes out, and when it goes out, you know, it'll be very apparent of like, where's the quality? You know, where are the people that really understand what's going on, who's really building things that matter? And you know, without a doubt, you know, Bitcoin's going to be, you know, front and center. So I'm stoked for that. I'm so stoked for this washout, you know, for all the you know, the Web3 marketing stuff to just fall on its face. It just, you know, whatever, I shouldn't be too negative, but like, you know, just to let it all flush, you know, it's like, let the tide go out, and Bitcoin will be just chugging right along, you know.
You get to see what's real, right? Like all the illusionary stuff disappears.
Yeah.
And you get to see what still functions, right?
Yeah, what functions, and also, like, you know, who knows what they're really, you know, who knows what they're really, who has the conviction of you know, what they're supporting, you know, the hodlers. It's like, you'll just see the conviction of the hodlers. So
yeah, absolutely.
For me, I just, again, listened to the OGs and heard the comments you guys have just made about shit gets done when the price tips. And I mentioned I met the scarcity guys before. I've also met the Coin Corner team from the UK exchange. And so looking at what they're doing and seeing what's going to come out in the future, you have to be bullish, because you think you guys are focused. You're bringing products to the market that people need. And so when they do come out, it's going to be incredible. But you're not focusing on price. And so you mentioned some companies there. You're looking at all the miners that are now part of the S&P. You said people are putting money in. There's a lot of money in these companies. So now's the time, is it, to reset, dust yourself off or whatever, and focus on getting stuff done. So that's why I'm bullish as well, because I can see from my limited view behind the scenes of what's going on. So I can only imagine what you guys have seen.
Yeah, there's a lot. Also, speaking of people building stuff, I don't know if anybody saw, but on Twitter it just dropped the Cold Card Mark IV pre-orders are now there. So if you're looking for a new Cold Card, they just announced the new version coming in. So we're checking out. I pre-ordered mine, and this one has NFC. So to do you can actually like NFC approve a transaction, which could be pretty cool, because I feel like that's something that Blue Wallet would immediately work on supporting, to be able to tap and do a transaction from your cold card. That would be sweet, because then all of a sudden things like a multi-sig wallet on your, it's already possible to do with Blue Wallet and like the Keystone and the Foundation Passport, but then to have cold card in that mix too. Ooh, exciting things. And I love when new stuff gets dropped like that. So Mauricio, I think that's again a fantastic topic. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, a lot of people building a lot of new things to be excited about, and we get to watch it all. If you stick around, you get to watch it all happen, and then you get to watch people be surprised at how much has happened when they come back in afterwards. Well, seeing people like, because I mean, it was SegWit so that we could get Lightning back in 2017, and everything kind of washed out. Everybody came back in thinking, oh, Bitcoin is slow and expensive, which is like the total opposite of the experience using Lightning now. You can shoot a transaction instantly to anybody for a negligible amount, like fractions of a penny in a lot of cases. And so to see people that don't realize what's happened behind the scenes over the past 4 years, 5 years, it's pretty wild, because that's when all the cool stuff happens. So yeah. Awesome. Well, let's keep it going. Let's roll on to our final reason. Of course, before I do, I will say, everybody in the chat, like, subscribe, share. I'm sure that David has done all of those things. And we'll move on to Mario. Dude, what is on your mind this week? What are you excited about?
Well, I want to say the reason I'm bullish is people have concerns these days, but they become increasingly higher quality problems. Like the the things that people were worried about in dips, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, it was, is Bitcoin going to survive this? And with very, very few exceptions, like the one in the chat, you don't really have people being like, this is the death knell for Bitcoin. Like even central banks and sure, Russia feels the need to ban it, right? If Bitcoin was really on its way out, they wouldn't feel the need to do that. You've got mainstream financial institutions. Like no one says, this is everyone accepts Bitcoin is here to stay. The dips that people freak out about, they're smaller dips than we had in the past. And these are all signs that, it's not, everything's not perfect, but there doesn't seem to be any question in the vast majority of people's minds, even those who don't like Bitcoin, that it is here to stay. So the question is not whether or not, the question is no longer, is Bitcoin going to survive this? It's, Bitcoin's here to stay. In what way is it going to affect the world? And that's just, it could be an easy thing to get lost, because, when you're in the moment, you're just focusing on, whatever things are going well or poorly at the time. But if we compare it to kind of our concerns that we had back in the day, it's pretty easy to just to stay pretty optimistic about the future. I mean, I guess this is a long way of saying I'm bullish because I can zoom out. But yeah, I'm sure that I'm excited to see what kind of stuff we're freaking out about in 5 years from now. Is it going to be, we're going to get to the point where the Dow Jones dips by 6 or 7%. Is that going to be the stuff that we're concerned about with Bitcoin 10 years from now? That'd be a cool problem to have. So, let's keep things in context there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to think everything is catastrophic, and I think a lot of that comes from newcomers just getting in. Right? They realize, they've never experienced the fear of having Bitcoin split in two and actually be confused about what's what. Obviously, a lot of people were, that had a bit of knowledge in advance, saw the split in 2017 and realized, okay, well, this is Bitcoin and that's a fork of it and it's something different. But I mean, there was a lot of uncertainty around that time. There's a lot of uncertainty around what would happen when 80% of the hash backed a corporate version of Bitcoin that was literally just moments away from being activated and being treated as the real Bitcoin on every major exchange. That was terrifying to happen. And it didn't work. It failed. Because of individuals saying, hey, I will not put my economic power behind that. I'm going to run my copy of the code. I will migrate to wallets that are using the Bitcoin that I see as Bitcoin, which is the Bitcoin. And we basically routed around the top 50 companies, 80% of the hash, which is an unprecedented move to see anywhere else. You would never see that happen, even in another coin. see that happen. It's the norm is to go with the people, quote unquote, in charge, right? You go with the founder. But in Bitcoin, it's if you guys we're so averse to leaders that it's become its own beast, and which has made it resilient, which has made it resilient against centralized control. And I just haven't seen that elsewhere. And yeah, if that's true, then what more are you going to worry about, I suppose. Mauricio, I know you're short on time. If you have to drop before we finish up, that's cool.
No worries. Yeah, I'll drop in a few minutes, but I completely echo Mario. I think, if you actually look at what Bitcoin's accomplished over the last year and just stop looking at price for a second, like, the fact that the types of countries that are banning it are banning it, to me, it tells me that it's actually doing its job. It's doing exactly what it needs to be doing. And that is actually very bullish to me, because I come from a place where my money broke, and my government tried to pull a fast one on us by making it impossible or illegal for us to buy any hard money that will protect its assets. And that is precisely what governments try to do when they want to ban Bitcoin. They're trying to prevent you from trading your worthless fiat that they want you so badly to keep track of, and they're trying to prevent you to dump it against something else because it shows how worthless their fiat is. And so that is the problem they're trying to prevent. So by preventing you from doing that, they try to put a lid on the volumes and on the price discovery, and so that people get confused. But it's doing exactly what it needs to be doing, and we're headed where many of us think are headed, which is that you cannot stop humans. You cannot tell a human they're not able to protect their well-being or their family. They're going to find a way. And that way many times means getting your ours out of power. But yeah, anyway.
I like to think that there's a parallel universe somewhere where Bitcoin was built with some flaw and it doesn't do what it's supposed to, and everybody's sitting around being like, guys, no one's banning this. Why not? This is a bad sign.
Bang Bitcoin. I think you were gonna say.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, sadly, I think that what Mauricio is talking about is going to be more and more present in the coming 2-3 years, and there's going to be a lot of countries that start to wobble, and it's going to raise a lot of questions. And I just hope that the education, like you mentioned earlier, Mauricio, the education worldwide just keeps improving, so that as many of the little guys can shore themselves up as best as they possibly can, because I think the turbulence is coming. It's if you believe in that the math is kind of inevitable, then this Lebanon and Turkey and all the rumblings, it's probably just the beginning. So yeah, here's hoping that a bunch of people are going to be able to stack some sats.
To put a more optimistic spin on that, I think that as more, sure, there are probably going to be more regions that try to ban it, but the regions that don't, the places that don't, are going to benefit a lot from increased business, increased investment. Look at what's happened to Texas has got a ton of new economic activity going on due to China driving out its miners. You could look at what's going on in El Salvador, and so I think the more places try to ban it, the more the benefits will accrue to other regions, and I think it's going to put a bit of a stopper on it. Each new place that bans it means there's more benefit to the remaining places, and it becomes a further incentive to allow people access to free market money.
Yeah, it's sorry, Ben. I was just going to say it's pretty epic what's happened in the last year with El Salvador. It's like El Salvador was literally completely forgotten. There's no one would talk about El Salvador for any reason whatsoever, and now they're popping up all over. And I just listened to the podcast with Jimmy Song and Mike from Bitcoin Beach there, and he was saying that there was these Senate delegates from Mexico down there strolling around El Zonte, excited about what El Salvador had been doing. So yeah, it's pretty exciting what's what's happening, and yeah, a country like El Salvador, like total obscurity, and now I don't know. I mean, is it because I'm in the Bitcoin echo chamber? I don't think so. I think El Salvador is actually getting a lot of props and consideration with a bunch of different countries, especially Central and LATAM.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at Tonga too. I mean, super unfortunate what just happened with the tsunami there. But Lord Fasitsua has been pushing hard and is looking like they're going to attempt to basically mirror what El Salvador has done later this year. They're putting forth more or less the same bill with some slight changes. Again, we got to wait till the fall to see what that actually looks like. But I mean, I didn't know. I'll be frank here. I didn't know of Tonga before this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's starting to be some recognition before the disaster that just happened. But there was already, it was, up alongside El Salvador, you see mentions of this island nation that probably not a lot of people were aware of prior to kind of this human interest piece in and around El Salvador. And so, I think we might see more of that over time. Of course, it's, the volatility lets the naysayers have their temporary wins here and there. But I mean, it's like Peter Schiff tweets, right? Like they're always, you can always go back in a long enough time frame and highlight a Peter Schiff. Yeah, you can always highlight some amazing Peter Schiff tweets and say, man, if you had just dollar cost averaged every time this man tweeted about Bitcoin, you would be sitting pretty. And that's very, very true of a lot of this, where again, people, again, like even in the chat, look at what it's done in the past 3 months. 3 months? How short is your time frame? Do you plan for the future at all?
Yeah.
With that kind of a small window of which you frame things? I would guess not. So, yeah.
Bitcoin's boiling the legacy financial system slowly. Just a frog, just boiling it slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and that's kind of the beautiful part about it, because also in the context of these pullbacks, you probably do get some people complacent and saying, "Oh yeah, I guess it is going away. We don't need to act on it now. We don't need to worry about it." And then when it all of a sudden it seems to come back out of nowhere, come back from the dead after obituary number 400 and something, then these people tend to be blindsided again, and oh no, we gotta jump to regulating this stuff. And so these cycles almost give us like a little bit of relief to like build even more and route around any awful stuff that could come out of bad regulations. But I mean, China gave us the greatest gift in killing 2 FUD pieces this past calendar year. The China mining FUD and the China's going to ban it FUD. And even like to a degree, the dirty mining FUD. A lot of that, although that's still, I feel like that's gonna, people that just don't like Bitcoin are always going to say that it's a waste of energy. They don't even care what kind of energy it uses. But
sure, but I mean, it's harder for them now because China uses a lot of coal. Bitcoin mining happens in China, therefore Bitcoin mining uses coal. Like it was a flimsy argument before, but now it's just it's obviously invalid.
Yeah, exactly. So it got rid of a few FUD points that were brought up on the regular, and now we see when one of the largest nation states on earth bans Bitcoin, it keeps on pumping out blocks, it keeps on functioning. A bunch of the hash is still working in China, and I can guarantee you that people in China still use Bitcoin. They have to jump through a few more hoops, but it's not like there's no Bitcoin use in China. It clearly still happens.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I think the countries specifically that are giving the most trouble to Bitcoin, they're pretty validating to Alex Gladstein's perspective on it disproportionately affecting authoritarian regimes rather than liberal democracies. I know there is some back and forth in the Bitcoin community where a lot of more anarchist-leaning folks think that there isn't as important a distinction between liberal democracies and authoritarians, whereas Gladstein tends to believe that tends to share my view that democracies are quite good on a lot of levels. But it will be interesting seeing if this trend continues because, again, look at the places that have cracked down on Bitcoin. They generally correlate pretty positively with very hard-handed authoritarianism. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, gents, I think I'm going to start rounding this out. What I'll do is I'll just do a quick round the table one last time. And just if you have any final thoughts, anything that you want to throw out there, you can. And then also just let people know where they can find you if you want to toss in a Twitter handle, a website, whatever you feel like. That's all good. So Josias, I'll go to you first. Any final thoughts you may have, anything you want to tag onto anything that was said today, whatever you like, and where can people find you?
Firstly, kudos to you guys who obviously survived the block wars. I've forgotten the name now. Not hash war.
Block size wars.
Block size war. Yeah. So obviously I've heard the horror stories, but we stand on the shoulder of giants. So
have you read the book?
No, it's on the list.
Got to read the book. It's fantastic.
That goes on to my next point. I was going to say, there's so much content out there which I love. I've toned it down a little bit because I was losing time with family because I was just so immersed in it. But yeah, I'm loving all the podcasts, the reading, and as I say, there's so much to media, art forms that can educate. So for anyone that's watching that's new, just seek it out. And what I love about the community, everything that I've learned, nobody's asked anything for. It's been given freely. Coming on the show today, Daniel Prince, UK Bitcoin Master, people around the world, again, name dropping Scott Sibley from Play Shamery, all these people who I've reached out to have helped and not asked for anything in return. And I found that within the whole community. So we are a loving bunch. And so FUD that's coming out now, further to your point, Mario, I think it is legitimate to have conversations, especially with people that don't understand Bitcoin, but I'm not worried because I believe in the community.
Awesome. And where can people find you, by the way?
Find me on Twitter at Josias Carbon. I've just changed my handle to Coach Carbon. I think if you tag at Josias Carbon, you can find me there. Website coachcarbon.life, which you can see everything I'm doing. I've also, again, creative side podcast, Carbon Life Pods. You can find that on all major platforms, but mainly find it on Fountain app where you can stream Lightning.
Nice.
So shout out
to
Fountain and Oscar Mary for that. So yeah, mainly Coach Carbon or Josias Carbon. You can find me on all platforms.
Awesome. And anybody that was just listening and you're unsure of the book we're talking about, it is called The Block Size War by Jonathan Beer. Well worth a read. If you weren't around back then, pick this up because this will give you context of what real FUD feels like. Because living through this and even having kind of lived through it, there were parts that I missed and didn't realize, and it helps you kind of put in context the timeline of everything that happened. Really good read. So check that one out. Mario, any final thoughts? Anything that you want to throw out there, and where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Mario_Gibney. I tweet about Bitcoin and occasionally other things. I would do a plug for LEDN, but you do such a great job of that already, and that I don't know what else to say. Give us a look for savings and Bitcoin-backed loans. We're going to take over the real estate world as well. We're going to lead the charge as Bitcoin's going to turn real estate orange this year, and they do Bitcoin mortgage. So plenty of stuff to check out on our site, and give a look to our podcast as well, the Unhashed podcast. And I'm basically like the third host on the Canadian Bitcoiners at this point, I think.
Yeah.
They'll agree with that one. So you can probably find me on there soon enough. But thanks for having me on, man. This is fun.
Yeah, awesome, man. And then last, Bang Bitcoin. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to throw out there?
Mario, are you the host of the Unhashed there, the podcast?
I am one of 4 hosts.
One of 4,
It's
cool.
those, yeah, myself, Ruben Thompson, and then the Alds brothers. They're the guys who run Privacy Pros, BillFodl, another sponsor of BTC sessions.
Cool. I'll check it out. Yeah, what do I got? Yeah, I think I just want to echo what Josias said. Is if you got any friends that are kind of like on the fence or whatever, doubters or no coiners or whatever, just subtly get them to jump onto Bitcoin Twitter, like, and just swim around there, because for the bad rap that some intense Bitcoiners get, I love it on there. Like, I'm game for the conflict, and I find over and over again that Bitcoiners are just super outspoken, but super generous, and yeah, even though people can spit a lot of fire here and there, but I just find I don't know, there's just something about it. I tweet about it a lot. I get this sort of brotherhood sense. It's weird. You meet, you just know these people from Twitter, but you get this sense that you know them. It's just this weird thing about Bitcoiners. And so I just want to encourage people to just jump in a bit. You might find that, you collide with people that you're just like, oh, something about this guy, something about these people that I really like. And it's no surprise that these conferences are such a huge hit. So yeah, jump in there and mix up a bit on Bitcoin Twitter.
I like that. It's really great too when you see people at kind of different points in the market, and maybe you go to a conference or something and you see somebody and it's in the middle of like a horrendous bear market, and then a couple of years later you run into them again and it's new all-time highs, and you have this kind of connection where you're like, I rode this out too. I sat through it. I recognized that something was happening here. Something special was happening. And you get to see those people, and the people that you recognize, the people that you see and interact with through all of these different points in time. You kind of start to identify with them because you've kind of had the same experiences and kind of shared something with them. So yeah, there is something special about it.
Yeah, and there's something there's something really to the meme that you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you, and time in Bitcoin it is transformational. And so with this recent dip, it's like it's a blip, and stay with it. And time in Bitcoin, it just something about it brings out, it changes the character of people, but it takes time. These things don't happen, on a 6-month, push up to all-time highs. It happens over the course of years. So if you dig it, stay in it. And, my experience is that it's like, phenomenal and transformational.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, this has been fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I loved having you all. Of course, you're all welcome back anytime. And will I be potentially seeing any of you at Bitcoin 2022? Mario, I'll be seeing you.
I have tickets. I'm not sure about entry though.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, setting my sights for sure.
Sweet.
LEDN will have a presence.
Awesome. Well, yeah, maybe we'll have some in-person stories to share too. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here, and you're all welcome back anytime.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Ben.
Cheers. I'm gonna cut your audio video and do a little outro here.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Cheers. All right, everybody, thank you for being here. David, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the chat. I hope you're hodling strong and just kind of chilling out through all this. If it's your first major dip, welcome to the club. We've all seen this before. Been around the block a few times. So such is life as a Bitcoiner. But I look forward to seeing you guys through it. We're always bullish here, right? That's, again, the point of the show is not reflective of what the price is doing in a short period of time. We are always bullish because Bitcoin continues to exist 13 years in, and it's doing incredible things, and it's improving all the time, and people are building amazing shit around it. So with that said, as always, please do like, subscribe, share. All those things are incredibly important. They do help the show. If you want to help the show in another way, you can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors down below. Those were Shakepay, LEDN, Bitrefill, Keystone, BillFodl, PrivacyPros.io. They're all in the show notes. You can also follow all these gents. All of their Twitter handles are down there as well. And if you really liked what you saw, you can always drop me a Bitcoin tip at my strike.me page, that is, or actually on Twitter. I do have it enabled there, but strike.me/BTC sessions. Head there, you type in any amount you like, you hit the tip button, you'll be greeted with a Lightning invoice, or if you prefer and you tap to the right, a regular Bitcoin QR code. With that, I am out. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day or evening and a good weekend. I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.